welcome to another episode of Dinosaurs and Mysteries. And yes, it is a bit windy. Now, I've been here before, I've recorded YouTube videos here before. However, today is a little bit different. Today I have a tool with me, an EMF meter. Now, I thought this would be a really handy tool for the more paranormal side of videos. I know some people think that they're not really useful, but it's the most common tool when people are doing paranormal, looking for any electric frequencies that can't be explained. So when there isn't electronics or electronic currents in that area, and there is a spike on the EMF meter, that's when people think, well, maybe it could be linked to the paranormal. So I'm here, I've been here before. I've done a few of my YouTube videos here just for the setting really, but I did do 2 videos in which the purpose was the paranormal side of it, but I was using apps, like kind of apps that are supposed to be helpful for ghost hunting, for paranormal sort of detection. But these apps it's very questionable if they're actually legitimate or if they actually help. So I've got an EMF meter. Now, I did have an experience in this graveyard myself, which I have documented on a previous video, but in a short while I'll go into that account. But I've actually had not my own paranormal experience, but I have had a paranormal experience, but recently we think our son has had an experience. Now, there's 3 different accounts in which we think that's the case. Now, one night he was chilling on our bed with my missus, and for whatever reason a conversation came up, and a certain name was mentioned, and he got upset, and he said, I really miss them, I want them to come back. Now, unfortunately, my partner lost someone on her side of the family last year. However, my son never met them, never knew them by name, yet he got really overwhelmingly upset, as if he'd met this person and genuinely missed them. So that was one, I don't want to say alarm bell, but one reaction that led us to think that maybe he's seen something. The second one was one evening, same way, we're chilling in our room and he's in his room trying to go sleep, and all of a sudden he comes up to us and he says, someone's opened my door. Now, I can't stress this enough, he didn't say this, he wasn't scared, he wasn't frightened, it was just, someone's opened my door. So then my partner was like, this is starting to freak me out a bit now. The thing with the past relative who we'd never met and never knew by name before, and then someone's opened his door. And then the third experience was my missus was on the phone, and I was just chilling on my phone in bed, and it was, there's someone in my room. Again, he wasn't scared, he wasn't frightened, he just said it. And he came to his door, and then he came in our room for about 20 seconds, and then he went back in his room all playing, all happy and Larry. So there is a saying that they think that children, we think our son is, well, we don't think, we know he's autistic, but he's been assessed for it. But they say some children and animals, or some people that have autism, are more prone to see or experience paranormal things. Obviously people without autism have these experiences as well, but yeah, so that's that encounter. Well, so I'm going to try and find the location where I had my little experience within this graveyard, and I'm just going to quickly go over it. I have covered it on another video, but I'll just briefly go over it. Now, I'm not sure if it was this or this one, but it was towards the end of one of these paths. Okay, so I have located the path in which I had 2 strange experiences on. So I'll briefly go over them now. So on one occasion, I think I was doing a video about the history of vampires, and on this path I heard footsteps behind me, they sounded quite close. Didn't think anything of it at first, but it freaked me out a bit, so well, it didn't freak me out, I just assumed I might have to stop recording if someone was behind me. No one was there, and then I felt something brush over my shoulder, and it was quite cold. And when I did this, I'm pretty sure it was summer, and it wasn't cold, it wasn't windy at the time. And then when I did another video, which was using a voice recorder that tries to detect ghostly paranormal voices, which I know now that the app might, it might not be legitimate, so that's why I've got an EMF meter and stuff. And on the exact same path, I felt the same thing. I could hear footsteps behind me, and I felt like something brushed past me. So I'm going to use the EMF meter in this area. So now, as I'm heading there, I will say I do know how they work. I'm not just going to assume that every spike on the EMF meter means that there's a ghost or there's something paranormal within that area. However, I am in the middle of a graveyard. There's not many wires, there's not many electronics, unless there's any running through the actual graveyard itself. However, this graveyard is huge, so whether there's electronics going from way over there, which goes even beyond what you can see on camera, to way over there, which is very far, yeah, I'm very doubtful. Anyway, yeah, so usually if I was indoors, you would do a baseline test. So you'd go around an area, and you'd get to know where the actual electronic spikes, frequency spikes are. So for example, near satellites, plug sockets, stuff that's got heavily used electronics. Like in our house, there's a box, all our satellite, Sky, broadband's plugged into it. That's where it spikes the most. So always do a baseline test when you're in an area, especially inside a house or around a house, before you actually do your little paranormal walk to try and pick up any obscure fluctuations in the EMF meter, because it might very well just be some electronics that are behind the wall. But if you've gone around the house previously and detected that there's no fluctuations behind the wall, and then there is later, then you know that could be something strange. Anyway, let's get to it. So it's going on. So as you see, right, this is a really simple one. You press that to turn it on. There is no other buttons, so I can't adjust this, I can't manipulate it, and why on earth would I want to? So as you see at the minute, it's green. Yes, it is bouncing a little bit, but that might have something to do with the wind. So here we go. So it was in this area in which it happened. Staying green. Now I will turn around in a minute and head back, but then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a general walk of certain areas of this graveyard and just see if this picks anything up. I am aware it's broad daylight, but that might not matter in some cases. Nothing too heavy, just a little, oh, what was that? Okay. Okay, so we do have, again, I'm not manipulating that, and now it's static green again. So we had a little increase at this area. Okay, but it wasn't anything ongoing. I'm going to turn back and use this in other places of the cemetery and just talk about the paranormal in general. Okay. That's when I got to hear it. A bit bonkers. Again, no buttons to manipulate it. So yeah. So have you had any strange paranormal experiences? Let me know any. They could be as little as a strange feeling, or you know, all of a sudden you got really, really cold in an area that wasn't cold, or it could be something a bit more dramatic, like you saw a figure, or you've heard bangs in which there was no explanation for the bangs, or anything like that. Just let me know. Tiny fluctuation there. What I might even have to do is, okay, now I did just get goosebumps, but it is windy today, so I can't 100% contribute that to anything strange. But this is roughly where it happened, where I felt I heard the footsteps and felt the. If you want to look up that video, that's fine. It happened on 2 occasions, but that did fluctuate for a minute, but now it's gone. And I feel like if it was paranormal activity, it would last. I know sometimes when you see strange things, they come and go as quick as you can blink. But okay, there, whoa. Let's see if I can pick that up again. I feel like if it happens again in the same area, oh, there we go. Now, is this linked to anything paranormal, or is there something nearby that could explain it? I'm in the middle of a massive graveyard. I don't any reason why any electronics would be near or underneath these grounds. There it is. Okay, so there it is again. So that happened at least two or three times when I stepped around this area. Let me do it again. Let's just walk past. Again, I'm not manipulating this. Watch it not do it this time. I have put my phone on airplane mode, by the way, because they say otherwise your phone might interfere with this. Okay, so this went a bit bonkers and spiked a bit in this area. I know it's not done it this time, but it did it at least 2 or 3 times when I walked past. So that's interesting, and that's in the area in which 2 times I heard footsteps behind me, and then I felt something brush past me, my left shoulder, quite coldly. For someone who believes in strange paranormal, and you know, I believe in cryptids and unexplained creatures and stuff as well, I've never had many actual personal experiences, so it was a small experience, but nevertheless, if it is something, there it is again. If it's got something to do with one of these graves and the people that are here, that could be one explanation. So I'm going to document where I am. Well, I suppose this video documents it, and make note of it. And what I might do is I might actually do some trying to communicate, see if it is a spirit. I know some people might be watching this and just think, you know what, it's windy, the wind might be carrying some kind of electronic frequency your way, but how powerful? Because, you know, I don't know, it's just when it happens in the exact same place. If I can get it to pick it up again, probably won't now, but you've seen it several times come up in this area. So could the fluctuation in activity have anything to do with these graves? It's around here, it's around this one. It is definitely around this one. Okay, so it's that grave. Right, I've turned it off just for a second. Okay, so could that fluctuation have something with this grave? Now that is a question. Now, the markings on the grave are very, very faded. So assumingly it's someone that's passed within sort of the late 1800s. Now, again, I'm going to say it many times for the people that think that there are people out there that make something out of nothing. I'm not that person. I'm, you know, as much as I believe in these things, I'm aware that there could be very rational explanations for some people's experiences. Some people's experiences may be legitimate and very, very real. And people might have an explanation for what that fluctuation was back there. It's just strange that it happened in a place where I had strange experiences in the past. I'm going to just walk around the oldie sort of bit and see if I can pick anything up. Just look at the scenery. Yes, it is a graveyard, and you might think that's a bit, you know, gloomy and dim. But if you know me, I love old school horror. I love creepy settings. I love anything like that. So yeah, that's why I like this kind of stuff. So yeah, anyway, let's get the EMF meter out now. For the rest of this, I'm literally just doing it by ear. I've never had an experience in this part. However, I thought a graveyard would be a good place to use this, considering there's no electronics around, and we're surrounded by buried people. Hundreds and hundreds of people that could potentially be spirits or ghosts. So let's do it. Let's turn it on. Bit of a fluctuation then, but I'm not going to take... Okay. Getting fluctuations then. I don't know if it's just because I just turned it on. As you can see, these are really, really old graves. These are sort of early 1900s, but then the ones further back behind me in this direction are sort of the 18 to 1700s. So yeah. Okay. Again, I'm just going on a general walk. I've not called out for any spirits. So yeah, I'm going to go into the direction of the older graves. Again, this is just a general chit-chat walk with this. The experience I had over there was very interesting, because this fluctuated in the exact same place that I had the experience, so that makes a lot of sense. And there's no electronics around. My phone was on flight mode. However, I am very aware that there could be explanations for when people have these experiences, but in some cases the explanation is the paranormal. I'm definitely gonna have to come back here at night one time. Be much better at night. Now, that's a cool picture right there. As I said, I'm a photographer. Creepy stuff, yeah. So, what got you into the unexplained paranormal? Obviously, if you watch any of my other videos, I do videos about cryptids and unexplained creatures. But obviously, I'm into the paranormal side of it as well. And I can tell you right now, what got me into the paranormal and unexplained. My ever first introduction to the paranormal was in my nana's house. We found a book in her room called Into the Unknown, and I think it was a Reader's Digest book, and in there it had all the classic unknown like sort of creatures, phenomena. So it had the classic ghost picture, I can't remember what the actual picture's called now, a picture of a giant, picture of UFO, you know, really famous the first sort of encounters and alleged evidence of some of the unknown explained activity. And after I saw that book, after that, I saw a few things on TV. Bear in mind, I was really young at the time. I was like, oh, that looks really cool. That looks like it'd be quite, you know, creepy and strange and unknown. I'll watch that, I'll get into that, and it's just stuck with me, and it's just grown and grown and grown as I've grown up. So yeah, again, you might think this is boring. What is the point in this? But it's not called Dinosaurs and Mysteries for no reason. No point me getting a tool if I'm not going to use it. Okay. Step forward. Step back. Again, there's no buttons down here. That's interesting. Let's go closer to this one again. Interesting. Now it's nothing. That definitely did fluctuate for at least 2 times. This grave right here, Ralph, Norman and Elizabeth. Oh, it's a family. Early 1900s. Again, I am not in any way, shape or form saying that was definitely something to do with who's buried here. However, when you're looking for paranormal stuff, as I get closer to it, it went a bit of... When you're doing like sort of paranormal walk or investigation, obviously you have to mention that it could be, because that's the whole point of doing it. Okay, so this is another grave that is fluctuated this EMF meter. Now the other one was within the area that I had my own strange experience. So this is basically to see if paranormal activity can be picked up, paranormal energy can be picked up in or around where people are buried, meaning that when they've died, they're still releasing energy, which could, result into seeing a ghost or a spirit. Very interesting. So that's another one. Yeah. Okay, that's really, really, I don't want to say cool because it's on someone's grave. I just want to say I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone. That's a really old grave. So much respect for who those people were. Stood by the grave, fluttering advice over it. That I'm not being disrespectful. I would never walk on the grave. I would never, I would never do anything, out of hand. So yeah, that's 2 times it's spiked near a grave. There's a part of me that thinks, well, it's obviously going to spike near some graves if you do believe in that sort of paranormal activity and energy, because I'm surrounded by hundreds of buried bodies around me. So if you do believe in ghosts and paranormal activity or paranormal electric, ghosts or spirits feed off some kind of strange electronic force, then it's obviously going to be in a graveyard because there's loads of dead people. That sounds really bad, but it's what it is. So some people might think, what's the point in doing this? Because you're obviously going to get readings because you're in a graveyard. But then some people that die might not come back and give off electromagnetic energy, for example, as we've walked past many graves, which nothing's happened. It's just the EMF meter has just stayed green. So I'm now sat on a little bench. I'm just going to have a quick chat and wrap up this video. So I've had 2 fluctuations near graves. One was by an area that I had 2 strange feelings and experiences, in which I heard footsteps behind me and I heard something brush across my left shoulder, and it got cold. That happened twice previously before this day, and then in that area again there was high fluctuations, which I concluded came when I was close to a certain grave. Again, it could be a different explanation. I'm fully aware of that before I get hammered in the comments. And then I got high fluctuations again by the other grave, which I was just doing like a sweep, like a walk, to see if it picked anything up. And as you can see on the video, I went there several times and it kept fluctuating. Again, you know, I have to say there could be other explanations, but this channel is about mysteries, and you know, so it's not strange to contribute the high readings near a grave in which there is a deceased person, especially when we're looking for electromagnetic energy that could come from a ghost or a spirit. So a graveyard, it seemed like the most obvious place to take this for a spin. But yeah, anyway, if you've managed to watch this entire video, then well done. I know it's not the most daunting, interesting when it's daytime and it's just an EMF meter, but these things need to be done. This is the whole point of the channel. It's going looking, you know, doing different things. So anyway, let me know your own experiences in the bottom. Do you have an EMF meter? Have you got any other tools that you use to try and detect strange phenomena or activity, whether it's ghostly or other unexplainable stuff? Let me know down below, and please like and subscribe to this channel. Reminder, I don't just do paranormal videos like this. I talk about cryptids, unexplained creatures, mythical creatures, all that kind of stuff. And big cats in the UK as well, all that malarkey. So please subscribe and like and share with anyone who may like this type of content. Thank you, and as always, stay safe.